What's up, everybody? Alien Earth premiered on Hulu this week, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the Alien franchise, but it definitely has the type of horror that I personally prefer, so let's dive in. Right off the rip, I was instantly roped in by the premise that they set in this opening crawl, or whatever you want to call the text that they put at the beginning of episode 1. Obviously, the execution of that story is what matters, but a good start is a good start. I will say, though, I'm not an Alien superfan. I don't know the franchise like I know, Star Wars and DC and even Marvel to an extent, but so I'm not sure if it's been done before, but this company thing, the rival companies, it's interesting. Anyway, another element of the show that I was immediately a fan of was the Timothy Oliphant character. The voice he's doing is so cool, but I wish we got more of him in this episode here. We definitely got a bit more in episode 2 with him, but I just want him in every single scene. He's also involved in the AI company side of the storyline, which is combining a bit of Peter Pan with Willy Wonka with this alien world. It's genius. I want to touch on the Marcy Wendy character though, because that's a tragic situation, but also in a lighter sense, her haircut as Wendy reminds me of the garbage lady from The Walking Dead. But real talk, I do feel bad for her because not only is she getting used by these delusional scientists and the scientists they have better intent, but the company for sure, but she's indoctrinating others for them. Even the way they presented those kids coming in and getting their adult synthetic bodies was creepy. They did a great job creating that unsettling environment without even, using the aliens and going to space all that much in episode 1. This rat boy trillionaire, he's just as punchable as a xenomorph. But when they do pull out the xenomorph for a strike, it's epic. It's quick, and obviously, they're working with a TV budget here, so they've got to get creative, and they do. The score is perfect, and it enhances it greatly, and if they keep making a lot out of nothing with their limitations here, we're going to be big chilling with this show. I also thought the brother-sister storyline that they're setting up here is interesting, but I needed to be fleshed out a bit more in the coming episodes, or just spend more time with it, I guess. You can see what they're doing, where, her child mind in this adult body is going to be the reason that she defects from the company. At least that's what I think's going to happen. It's just a matter of, what's going to cause that. I could see it being her brother's death. That certainly feels possible. It's already been close calls a couple times in the first 2 episodes, but I could also see her just, wanting to be with him again and getting rid of the company. Regardless, even though they're quick hitters, the action scenes and the kills in this show are so gruesome. Whether it's the strike itself we see, or even just the corpse left behind, I can't reiterate enough how impressed I am with that side of the show. It's completely blown my expectations out of the water for what we would get with Alien on TV, and I also chuckled to myself as that ship crashed into I think it was called Prodigy Town, but that doesn't really matter. I had to chuckle because Anakin, he would have loved that landing. It would have been another happy landing. But overall, I thought that was a strong start for this show. I was hooked simply by how cool it is, and I'd say the story, just here in episode 1, not even getting to episode 2 yet, was interesting enough that I'm ready to go with the rest of the show, and I'm going back to the movies too, at least the ones I haven't seen. I gotta rewatch a couple too, but it's got me in the alien mood. Moving on to episode 2, I want to kick this one off with some theory time because I do think that I figured out the whole boy trillionaire thing here. It almost feels like, and this is just speculation, that he's not even a boy at all, and obviously he's in like his 20s or whatever in the show, but I think it's going to be similar to the Rudy Robot storyline in the Invincible show and comics. Like, he's actually controlling this body that we see in the show, and he's testing this mind soul transfer stuff to save himself and his body that's stored elsewhere. Moving on to the episode itself, though, they take the attacks to another level here with the xenomorph coming out. I didn't necessarily love seeing him run around. I'm not quite sure how I felt about that part, but it was a cool sequence nonetheless. It also took me an entire episode and up until this scene, so I don't know what, 20 or so minutes into the second episode, to realize that the guy playing Hermit, the brother of Marcy, is Nemec from Ander, and that rocks. But back to the actual aliens, the Xeno isn't even the coolest one in this episode, at least it wasn't for me, as we see this eyeball with tentacles pop out of that cat's head, that poor cat, and I'm not even a cat person, I hate them, and I just lost my shit here. The kaleidoscope thing that they do with that is so cool, and then the Xeno, it comes in and just takes dudes' faces off, well, multiple, but it's like the Rob Riggle hangover scene, in the face, it's just crazy. In all seriousness, though, I thought that was a good episode exploring the ship. However, I was not a fan of the cliffhanger on this episode, even though it's implying the whole alien invasion with the eggs that give those things that implant people as xenomorphs or whatever. It still didn't sit right. They're building things up pretty well, though, with the siblings reunion and everything else, but they still managed to fumble on the one. So I'm definitely mixed on this ending to the premiere and just a tad bit concerned that maybe they had too much here for a movie, but not enough for an entire show. Either way, I'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And so that's going to do it for my review of the 2 episode premiere of Alien Earth. Let me know what you guys thought about the premiere and also just your favorite project from the Alien franchise down in the comments below. And make sure you have a great day.